welcome. Today we're going to talk about Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. This was very average to me. I guess the manga was way better. I haven't read it, but a lot of people said it was nowhere near as good. I don't think I hated it quite as much as a lot of people did or disliked, but it was meh. It's about Yuhi, who kind of just hates life because his grandpa abused him. He just wakes up one day to find a lizard next to him that can talk and only he can see it. And the lizard says that he has to become a knight to protect the princess and the world, and that he has to save the world. He's like, I don't even want to save the world. I don't like the world. But then he ends up meeting the princess, who also doesn't really like the world because she has a chronic illness, and she wants to destroy the world instead and become Lucifer, even though she's supposed to save it. So he's like, I'll follow you. And then they have to find the other knights. So it's Anima is the one that picked all the knights, and she's like a psychic from the future. And then they have to fight her brother Animus, who is trying to destroy the world. So the characters are Yuhi, who is the main character. He's just he used to want to become a hero of justice, and then his grandpa like locked him in the closet and stuff, or in his room for like days at a time. It was super abusive, so he just doesn't trust people anymore. But he slowly like warms up to the others. There's a Samidare, who is the princess that with the chronic illness, who also, the other knights make them end up like warming up to the world more. But she's just really strong despite her illness and wants to do everything. There's a Shinonome, who's the first knight that they find. He's the dog knight, and they spend a good amount of time developing him, only to kill him off. I guess spoiler alert, but I mean, it's pretty not too far into the anime. But yeah, they spend episodes with this guy, and he's the first adult that like makes Yuhi like not hate the world so much. And he's just a really good guy that had a lot to live for, and I don't know why they spent so much time focused on him to kill him off. Like, they could have made us like him earlier to kill him off, in my opinion. And there's Hakudo, who is the snake knight. She's a really shy girl that Yuhi saves, so she like gets a crush on him. And she's a good cook, and she's just a sweetheart. And then she finds out about Yuhi and Samedare's plan to destroy the world. So she's like, I want to get strong and prevent that. There's Mikazuki, who is the Crow Knight. He just wants to fight all the time, and he's Shinonome's brother. So after his brother dies, Yuhi becomes his goal because Shinonome ends up passing his powers to Yuhi. And I like Mikazuki a lot. There's Akane, who is the Owl Knight. He's a little boy that his parents are super abusive, so he's also like hates the world kind of type. And he actually betrays them all to give Animus information, but eventually like he grows to love his fellow knights, and he betrays Animus and takes their side. Um, and then there's Yuki and Subaru. Um, they're little girl knights that are best friends. And they like use their abilities together. I don't know. They're kind of bland. They didn't get much development because they just lumped them together. There's a Hio who is the cat knight. He has a black cat, and he can make golems, which are the main enemies. So somehow he can develop golems. And then there's Serrano, who is the praying mantis knight. Um, at first, she literally has no emotion whatsoever. And then her best friend, who is also a knight, dies. So she gets more development and like cries and then becomes more of a person. Um, and then of course there's Anima and Animus, who are the brother and sister from the future who's fighting over the planet. And are psychics. Um, they did not develop these characters well, let me tell you. First of all, they spent so much time developing Shinonome as like a main character, only to kill him off. And then you would think they would find the knights one by one and get to know them a little more, but they just find all the rest all at once. And like I didn't know much about who was who until like towards the end. Like I got to know the characters more, but like they hardly developed them at all. Oh, and I forgot there's a horse knight too, who's like an older guy that like becomes team leader almost besides Yuhi. Um, and like I had to look up all their names because I didn't remember any of their names. So I don't remember Horse Knight's name. I just remember he existed. That's how bad their development was. But yeah, like they just they develop Akane because he flips back and forth. They develop Serrano some after her friend dies, but yeah, like I don't know. They just don't change much. They don't stand out much. It's just repetition that makes you get to know the characters towards the end, really. Um, so I'm giving the characters 4 out of 10. The story, the pacing was so weird. Like I said, they spent a good amount of episodes with Shinonome just to kill him, and then all the knights appear at once, and then you don't know who's who, or you don't get to know them individually. Um, and then they're just fighting golems together, doing weird stuff, like going to the beach. Like some of the knights, one of the knights already died before you even get to know him. And they just slowly develop and be stronger and stronger golems. Um, and then they, at the end, they defeat the final golem, and then they have to fight Animus, and they become stronger, and they're able to defeat him. And then Yuhi and Samedare, after they like grow to love their friends and everything, they're still like, oh, I'm gonna destroy the world. Um, and they fight all the knights, and the knights lose against the two of them. And then Yuhi's like, "Oh, I'm gonna stop you from destroying the world now," which just came out of nowhere. And so they fight and he loses, but he just kisses Samedare because he's loved her the whole time, and magically they're not destroying the world now. I don't know. The story was a mess. I'm sure it's better in the manga. And I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's just the pacing was really weird. And then stuff was really weird. I don't know. So the story I'm gonna give a 5 out of 10. The world building, I mean, it's the whole world, and then there's like time travel and different times. Um, so that was interesting. Like space is part of it, other dimensions. Anima like appears in their heads in other dimensions and stuff. So I thought the world building was pretty neat. So I'll give that a 7 out of 10. My best boy was Shinonome. I think the anime would have been a lot better if they hadn't killed him off, or if they had waited, or like he died later, because I don't know. They spent so much time on him. It just seemed like a waste. My best girl is Hakudo. I really love her. She just tries her best. I also thought another thing I thought was weird though was that her and Yuhi fought and she was really weak, and I don't know how she won that battle and became one of the special knights. I don't know. It was weird. Overall, I will give this anime a 5 out of 10. It was very average. The pacing was weird, and yeah, I, if you're really bored, I'll recommend it, but otherwise, don't waste your time. Thank you, as always. And if you enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.